Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 210 at scavengerlife.com.
I'm currently looking through Craigslist's ads in New York.
I know.
Because we're going to, it's Manhattan
Tomorrow
for 2 weeks. And so I'm like, okay, let's start scavenging. Let me start figuring out what there is.
Well, the last time we were there, we had a good find, had good finds on on Scavenger Life. I'm exhausted right now. Can you tell? On Craigslist, yeah. So it was fun, and we can start emailing people now, I guess, and be like, I can come get it tomorrow night or something, you know.
And because we're there for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay, but we are going to talk about that. I do want to acknowledge the fact that we had a bit of a drama this week in our little world.
Yeah.
That our YouTube account was terminated or was shut down, but then was turned on the next day. So we just wanted to address that just so there's no confusion about what happened.
Yeah.
So we were cleaning our rental house.
Right. So it's almost like we're off the grid. I mean, we have our phones, we're checking our phones, but we're very focused on getting this done.
And people are coming. So I saw that we got an email from a nice person who was like, your YouTube account doesn't work anymore. I'm like, okay, we'll figure out later. Then immediately we got a lot more nice messages from people that are like, what happened? And I'm like, oh, great.
Something's happening.
And so anyway, we were just like, we have to focus and do this first. We met the people, we checked them in.
Yeah.
They're booked, and then we go home immediately. We look at our computers and we're like, yeah, it says we're terminated.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about YouTube. It was very interesting. There was zero explanation. Like, we just we probably got a message that everybody else got. Just like, this account
no longer exists.
Was terminated because of spam, theft, I don't know, scam, whatever.
Well, and then what it says is, after all that list, or other violations of our terms. Right. And you're like, so that could be any reason.
So we did a couple things. There was a way to send YouTube a message
to appeal the decision.
And so I linked to our blog.
Yeah.
And I wrote, we have a good community.
Yeah.
We try and just share positive info. Come and check it out and see, what happens. And that's when I made the blog post and asked people to write comments, so in case a real person came by. And then we took a walk. And I can remember we were just like, should we keep doing this, I remember there's a moment everything on the table, is this worth,
Well, I think because part of it is we have a huge, actually half of our listeners and downloads come from YouTube. Yeah, so it's like we get messages almost every single day saying, I found you on YouTube.
Yep.
So to cut that out completely means that so many people would not find us.
Right. But that was just something we talked about. And then we actually, we used to live and work in San Francisco in the tech world, and so we actually had some friends who know some people at YouTube, so we reached out to them, and then we just fell asleep.
Yeah.
And we woke up it's morning to people telling us it's back on, and it was. And you know what? Here's the issue with it, is that we've still to this day have no idea what happened. We don't know if there was some guy out there, some troll, some lady, I don't know, who was abusing the flagging process and flagging a lot of our videos, and just YouTube automatically bans that channel if that happens.
And I've had that happen to several of my friends that are actually some of the like big YouTubers. Right. So I'm like, I know that happens.
And people were sending us emails saying that happens to that's happened to other people in this
reseller community,
selling world.
Yeah.
Or we just don't know if one of our friends who knows some people at YouTube says, maybe YouTube was just going through and just cleaning out channels, because there's a lot of junky stuff on YouTube. Maybe they're cleaning out ones that they thought were commercial or something. Anyway, we're back up. We don't know what happened. And we have to remember, too, that's one of the reasons why we like our blog.
Right.
That, some people who do this, they're only on YouTube, it seems like. And that's kind of like where everybody is.
Yeah.
We like that there's a blog because even though YouTube doesn't exist, we still have MP3s that we host elsewhere.
Right.
I mean, and we have everything on hard drives too.
Yeah.
So
it is good because the great thing was people were like, oh, I wanted to listen to this podcast and I couldn't hear it. But then I went on your, blog and saw the MP3, so I was okay. So that was good. But so it was a little bit scary.
It's like you said, YouTube is where a lot of people go.
Yeah.
And it's hard to not want to be on that. But, this podcast can exist with or without YouTube. And we're talking about maybe trying to do something else that's a YouTube plus, maybe do another place, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We like our a little intimate group that we have on the blog. That's one reason why we stopped doing comments on YouTube itself, because it just gets to, I don't want to get into beefs with anyone. I don't want people to be angry. I don't care what people do.
Yeah.
We're just trying to do our own thing.
And other people can do their own things too. And I like interacting with lots of different people, but I feel that it's more contained in our blog. It feels more like a hangout space rather than YouTube really feels like the Wild West. It feels crazy sometimes. Right. And that's why I love our blog. Yeah.
But just to bring this back to eBay. Mm-hmm. What's interesting is, a YouTube, eBay, there's these huge corporations, What's interesting is that, I know some people complain about eBay and their account gets suspended or eBay sends them a note they don't like. But it's interesting. I feel eBay has a system of communication between the corporation and the person who buys or sells versus YouTube. Because, at least when eBay is doing something, you normally get a message that's like, there's a problem here. Fix it or something's going to happen,
Yeah, or you call their phone number and you're like, there's this issue, I don't understand it. And they're like, let me talk you through it. YouTube, there's nobody to talk to.
There was, so I do give eBay its credit here, having experienced this, that I feel like they do, and they probably put a lot of effort into having these these places where you can call and people that you can email.
Right. I mean, it's very different.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm glad we're back.
Yeah.
I was I was feeling really bad, and I woke up at 7 a.m. that day, and the first email I saw, someone's like, "You're back." I was like, "Oh God, thank God."
Yeah, but the good thing is we've kind of been around the block a couple times with online groups, so we know the ups and downs of people love you, people hate you. Technology loves you, technology hates you. It's all
YouTube loves you. YouTube
we
hates you.
used to host all of our own stuff and do all of our stuff on YouTube. On WordPress and we learned those days that was even more work trying to host everything yourself and
just crazy
update it.
Right.
I have a couple of blogs that no longer exist because they got just
they exist on a hard drive, a dusty hard drive. Mine too. I looked at one of my original Blogger blog from 2005. Mm-hmm. All the video links are broken. I'm just oh my God.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
The internet is not forever.
Nope.
Okay, but let's talk about
the concrete reality of numbers.
Our numbers this week. The podcast is fun, but this is our business.
Yes.
And we share these numbers every week mainly to kind of give people perspective, whether if you're new, you can hear some numbers, what it's like for people who sell online full-time, or if you're experienced, you can compare and see if you do better or worse than us. I mean, there are some people who do much better than we do. And
have less items in their store.
We're not the best. Okay, so in our first store, it was slow. We made $824. Actually, it's a little bit more because it's still Saturday. We sold a couple things today, so maybe it was close to $900, but...
That's still pretty low. And The only reason it got boosted up to that this morning is we sold a pair of boots for $150.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
I mean, so it's really, this is what it's like when it's in August like this. We sold 8 items under $30. So almost half of the items
we sold were under 30. Oh my god.
Dollar
At
things.
one point I think we sold, we have these pants that are 99 cents each, so it was like $10 worth of pants. I was like, oh my god.
I mean, there were several days this week where we sold a single item. You know,
and it would be 10 o'clock at night, and we're like, we still haven't sold anything.
Right.
And one, $12 item would sell, and we'd be like, oh my god.
And so I know there are other people out there that are like, probably, it's slow for us too.
Yep.
But I mean, again, let's just stress this: we have almost 4,000 items, and it's been this slow for us.
Yeah. So we know how bad it is.
And there are, people out there that probably have not had a slow week. And so I think that's always the thing to remember, too, is that just because something works for one person doesn't work for another. And then it's next week's, someone else has a slow week, we have a good week. I mean,
it's just,
there's no really rhyme or a reason to it. The interesting thing is, so we average about $120 a day. And what's important for us, though, net to us is, we need $100 a day to pay our bills.
Right. That's the minimum.
And that's important for us is we really work to get our expenses way, way down. Mm-hmm. I think that's really good, $100 a day. And so that means that we don't really have to sell that much stuff to survive. Although we aren't just trying to get by. We're trying to make more so we have extra to have.
Do other things.
Yeah, and invest in it, that kind of stuff.
So let's talk about our second store. Now, our second store...
Project X.
Yeah. Yeah, the Manhattan Project. 467 items, so a little under 500. We sold 10 things. So think about that. We have almost 10 times the amount of items in our main store, and we sold 50%.
Right.
It was 50% of our main store. So we sold 10 things. We sold 19 things in our other store. It's kind of like, what? So we made $377. We sold a lot of stuff. I mean, I looked at the list this morning. I was like, 10 things? That's a lot for a little store.
Yeah. I mean, it was good. And, we don't have quite yet 500 items in our store. And we always tell people, or like our manifesto is, it's so kooky. We're like, I feel like that guy on TV. List 500 things as fast as you can, and you'll make $2,000 a month.
Call now.
And people actually come on the blog and be like, I'm trying to do what you say. Like,
and they're like, it's not working.
I'm just making it up.
But see, I would say
we're getting close, though.
We're getting close, and that's how we figured out our numbers when we started. We were like, okay, we have 200 items. We're making this much. Let's ramp it up.
Right, but it's like you're talking to a drinker in a bar on a Tuesday afternoon, kind of spitballing ideas. Like that's what it is. Like, people are like, how much do I need to a list? So I'm trying to give people
a baseline,
But we're getting there. I mean, this is slow time for us.
Yeah.
We made almost $400.
Yeah.
So I feel like we aren't far off from
right.
it. So, I did get several emails this week from very nice people that listen, and they're trying to give us reasons why our new store is doing good.
Yeah.
And, I can see it. They're like, well, eBay search engine, they love new stores. They love stores that don't have a lot of old items that haven't sold, and so that's why you're probably getting boosted in the ratings, and that it's your stuff in its new store is more fresh.
Yeah.
But my thing is, though, you can have the freshest items, but people still have to be searching for it. Just because your stuff is newly up doesn't mean that it's going to sell.
Right.
Because our goal is not to sell things as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Our goal is to make enough each week to pay our bills,
right,
and then to make extra so we can do all these other fun things we can do.
Yeah. So I think that's interesting, though, the freshness factor. You know, a lot of people are pointing to that, but
freshness.
I don't know. I mean, I listed a lot of stuff on our other store, and still we, did not do crazy.
This is what they would say.
Yeah.
They would say, okay, great, you're putting it's new stuff up, but you have all these old items.
This dead weight.
Dead inventory.
Yeah.
Holding you back.
But I sell older stuff all the time.
I know. So my answer to people that say that is, okay, well, let's think this through. So let's say you want to have the freshest stuff.
Right.
What does that mean? Right. Does that mean like you limit at your store to 100 items and you never let any item be up for longer than a week? I mean,
what's the freshness? So
then what are you doing? Trying to sell your items for 99 cents? Like, not everything sells right away. And so it's my thing is people it's like the story of the elephant and the 5 blind people. Like everyone finds part of it that they know everything about it, but they aren't seeing the entire thing. And so I want people to say, okay, how do you want to run at your store based on these hypotheses you're coming up with? For us, the easiest thing for us is list it and forget it.
Yeah.
And that has worked for us.
For years.
Year in and year out since 2008. And we make enough each month to pay our bills, and we are not having to, there's no charts and graphs, there's no chalkboards, and we're figuring out all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, but obviously we love experimentation. We just love people to do the experiments and to actually get real answers that they then could share, that people could try and they would get the same answers.
Right.
That's when things are for real and it's not
science,
just conspiracy
numbers.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's just have some fun now.
So
these are things that we sold this week.
Yes. So I was watching our video from Amsterdam last year where we went to I Holland, which is their big flea market that happens in this 2 huge warehouses.
It's where they built ships.
It was a shipbuilding warehouse.
It must be 20 stories high. I mean,
it's huge.
Gigantic.
20 stories.
Wasn't it?
No.
How big was it? 10 stories.
20 stories
10
is
stories.
like a high-rise hotel.
10 stories.
No, I would say it's 3 stories high.
You think that's it?
Okay, you know what? Someone needs to go look at that video and tell us. Anyway, they're huge warehouses. They're filled with vendors. A lot of them, I mean, honestly, last year, because we've been to it 2 years in a row. Last year, a lot of people that were selling were college girls selling their old clothes. I'm oh, there are way too many of these this year. But yeah, so we bought these Ralph Lauren oiled canvas and leather hunting boots. They had an American size on them, so I don't know, someone bought them in the USA or wherever. But those were what sold for $150 this morning. Yeah. I had $250 on them, but as you guys know, it was super slow. We were $150, I'm taking that. I bought them for €5.
And that's good. That's good for us that we've been having these things that we bought in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
That have been,
Actually, what was cool about the reason I watched the video is I was I want to see what sold since we made that video, which was a little more than a year ago.
Right.
And a lot of it sold. I'm sold that, sold that, sold that, sold that, sold those.
So it hasn't even been a year.
I think it was last October.
Okay.
So it's August right now.
Right.
So it hasn't exactly been
a year.
Yeah. So another kind of random sale was we sold this pair of vintage tennis rackets. But what was weird was we sold this pair, and then we sold another vintage tennis racket on the same day, which is
And
why?
And it's for us that's weird because we don't really buy these anymore.
I used to.
There's a time when we bought them every time as we saw them because the ones we're talking about, they're made out of maple and they're real.
Oh, and they're
shiny,
from the 40s.
Cat guts.
They look incredible.
And if you're thinking, oh, someone's gonna want to hang these on their wall. I mean, we probably have 10 of these things, and they're really slow.
They're very slow to sell.
So it's always strange when they're bought up like that very quickly.
I mean, I don't know if it's there was some article online in some like design magazine.
It's like we talked about a week ago. Those like vintage eye glasses.
Yeah, sold 3 pairs.
Right. That. You know. So again, we have no way to tell if we got linked to on a blog or on a forum. You know.
So we sold a piece of art that we have on commission for our friend, and what was funny is. This was an original illustration from the late 1800s for a magazine, and I had it up for, I think, $79, and this guy made a low offer, like $30 or something. But I was like, this guy has a lot of feedback, like 1,000 feedback, so I'm like, he's either a seller or a collector. So I looked up his name on Watch Count, and he buys art for expensive, original illustrations for like $200. I'm like, oh, he'll pay the price I want, which is $50. And he did.
Yep. And so actually, it's countered him at a $50, and then he kept countering you, and you were just firm.
Yeah, I was firm. That's right.
And he was like, okay, I'll buy it.
So what I said actually was, because I knew he would appreciate it, I said, 50 is the lowest I can go for an original, pen and ink from 1894.
Yeah.
Like, come on, buddy, seriously. Yeah. And he was like, okay. And he bought it and paid for it right away. So he knew I was right.
So that's a good example of, like, taking time and just doing a little bit of a research.
I think that's why it kind of sucks that eBay has taken away the ability to see what people buy. Yeah. Because as a seller, I'm like, is this person collecting art? Can I ask but it's like, does eBay just want me to take lowball offers?
I mean, that's why we love eBay, even though they don't officially allow that info now. You can find that info really easily. Is that when all the info is transparent, prices of things, competition, past sold items, what people have bought, when all that stuff is transparent, then everyone can make a decision based on the right info.
That's why it kills me that Etsy and like that new site Catawiki and like there are a bunch of other sites, they don't show completed listings transparently like eBay. So I'm like, what's the market for this thing? I want to sell this thing on this site. What should I charge for it? Right. Is it $100? Is it $500? You know, it's just... So another interesting sale, which is funny because I sold this and then we went thrifting today and I bought another one, was this old-fashioned can opener. I don't even know, like, we watched this British show one time and this lady was trying to use this can opener and she could not figure it out. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I have no idea.
20s or 30s, it's
got like a claw
it's
on
kind
it.
Of like got the claw where you're supposed to like claw around
the edge or something.
But, we got it in a box full of a bunch of kitchen stuff.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things where I would not have listed, but Orion's like, let's do it.
I think it's cool because it had a brand name. It was like A&J, Chicago, Illinois. Like, people love that stuff.
Anyway, it sold for $24.
$24, right? So I picked one up today. I was looking at this one and it was 50 cents. And I'm like, should I? And I'm like, wait a second. I just sold one of these yesterday for $25.
But it'll probably take us another 6 months to
No, but that. I listed that last week.
Oh, really?
In our new store. Cool. So clearly someone's looking for an old-fashioned can opener.
So anyway, it was a good week. I mean, it's always a good week on eBay, on the eBay street.
On eBay Street.
On Scavenger Street.
Low sales, but interesting sales.
Yeah, we roll with it. Customer issues for us. We are having one pair of shoes sent back to us. The
that sucks.
Just said that they didn't fit. She's paying for it.
Yeah, no big deal.
Hassle-free. She printed out a label, whatever.
It's like you don't even have to talk. That's what I love in a way. You don't even have to talk to people. You're like, cool, just send it back.
Yep.
So this is not a customer issue. This was a weird eBay issue. We look at our seller dashboard almost every day. Yep. So we want to make sure it's correct because there are several times when it's not been correct. So eBay and Jay like flagged this. He's like sending me chats like, what the hell? Like our uploaded tracking info and handling time was at 92%. And it said 318 out of 343 transactions, had the proper handling
over
time.
3 months. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like 30, whatever, like 30 transactions. I'm like, that is crazy. So what they were, I think what they were measuring was like the last year. I'm like, that's clearly...
No, they were just doing the past 3 months because it would be many more transactions than 343.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but what was weird, I
mean, okay, when you called, they said there was an issue.
Right.
That was going to get fixed.
Yeah, they said there was an issue with the numbers.
And so they said it was happening with other people too.
Yeah.
And then a couple of days later, it got fixed.
Yeah,
and now
it did
we're
get
back
fixed.
to normal.
It did. So I think we only have I think the problem was there were a few that I missed when we first started the rental.
Right.
And then we realized, we have to change our handling time.
I mean, I think people forget on eBay that the whole performance that eBay has is, I mean, you don't have to be
You don't have
perfect.
to, yeah, you don't.
It's just within certain ranges. So, we need to have 90% of our stuff uploaded.
Yeah.
We aren't perfect, There are days when we can't get an item, stuff is going on,
right. Right.
It's not a big deal as long as you stay within that range. So,
but we were getting close, and we were like, that doesn't sound right.
Same way with it's defects. I mean, we fight everyone that doesn't seem fair, but there are some you're like, okay, that's a defect. But you know what? There's a range.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, again, on our second store, we talked about that. It's so clean. We have no defects. It's like there's no neutral or negative. It's like it's so perfect. I think when people start getting hit with those,
it sucks.
They start freaking out because it's like,
it's like, oh, my perfect account.
But, those of us that have larger stores that have been around for a while, it's not as big of a deal.
Yeah, we're like, we have defects.
All right, so what we did, it's this past week. This is really for me and you to remember our week. So we paid off more of our debt,
Yes.
which really feels
Curtailment,
good.
a new vocabulary word.
We went to the bank.
Yeah.
We wrote a check and we were like, put this towards our debt, towards the principal.
Principal. We
I'm going to stand here while you're doing it.
Yeah, you're like, principal. Say it 3 times. Principal. Now say it with me. Yeah. Principal. And not the interest.
We even high-fived right there and everyone laughed at us. They were like, oh.
And you know what you said? You said, I know this is going to embarrass you, but high five. And I was like, curtailment.
That's right.
Which means paying off your debt. Paying off your principal.
Paying off the principal. So it's good. So we actually went scavenging 3 times.
3 times this week,
so all 3 times... it's want to, again, break it down and put this in its perspective. Since we've been dealing with all these piles of death in our house, this is how they happen. So we went 3 times. We're shopping for about 30 minutes
half an
or so.
hour maybe.
And each time we get about 20 items.
Yeah.
And so we spent $60 once, $20, and $70.
Yeah.
Which to us is really good. I mean, we're paying basically under, we're paying $2-3
an
total
item.
An item. But, so we come home though, and we had these 20 items. One day I took pictures of one of our hauls.
Yeah.
So that half an hour takes me a good afternoon
of work
to do.
Yeah.
And then we did these 2 other hauls. I did take pictures of that one, and then the third one I haven't had time to do.
Right.
That's going to go in a bin because we're going to New York. And
but...
so that's how it happens. It's so easy to scavenge. I mean, I don't know. Other people say they have problems. It's for us. It's just it's just
everywhere.
And this wasn't even us going on scavenging trips. This is just us. We're on our way somewhere else. Let's stop in for half an hour.
Yeah.
And there's wow, there's all this cool stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And it reminds me this. We've only done kind of a maintenance scavenging all summer long.
Yeah, we haven't gone to the flea market once, but we're just so busy.
Well, I mean, but also we're busy going back and taking care of items we bought.
It's not like we don't have merchandise.
Yeah, it's just...
It's there's enough to...
so anyway, to me, it just blows my mind how much stuff is out there. And just that's just the way we are. It's, there's only so much time in the day.
So something else we did that you were very adamant about doing, and it was good because we actually got through all of it, was photos of men's jackets, sweaters, and shirts.
Yep.
How many piles? There was like 5 or 6 piles of stuff.
Yeah, we kind of broke it down, like for us it's all about categories.
Yeah.
So we have all these bags of stuff, we like throw in a big pile, and then it's like playing a game. Let's do categories. So I check out men's coats, women's coats, jackets,
sweaters,
wool coats,
Yeah.
And we put them in piles of between 10 and 20 items.
Yeah.
And that's what we did because, like I said in the blog, it might be really hot now, but people are going to start to buy coats. I mean, people are buying them even now.
Oh, yeah.
But really, in like September, October is when
people really
starts.
buy those.
So it's too late to list them in October.
Yeah.
You want to list them now.
So that's why I'm bringing that stuff with me.
It's just like they say, the best time to plant a tree is now or 10 years ago. Or 10 years ago or now.
I never heard that.
You haven't heard that?
No. But it's true.
It's like, I wish the tree could be really big, but you're like, okay, but
if you don't do it now,
you just got to do it,
happen.
And then it's going to get big. And so it's the same thing. You got to just list the jackets whenever you have time. June, August, May.
And then they're going to sell because you have a pipeline.
And then, I did a couple more of our death pile boxes.
Yep.
You listed a bunch. You listed, it's 56 things in the first store and 30 things in the second store.
Not bad.
Because we were a little stressed out, slow week, and so that's the only thing we can do is just say, all right, let's just work.
Yep.
That's all we can do.
Yep. Exactly. So, let's talk about counting calories. I love that's on the list. Yeah, but we do
How's your eating?
Ow.
How's your eating going?
Well, okay. So, this is like an infomercial episode. So, I have a daily intake of 1,300 calories, which...
Right, so I don't know if anyone cares about this. We care about it. We're getting a little older.
Yes.
I am getting a little bit older. And like all Americans that get a little bit older, you start getting a little flabbier.
A little...
And we just realized, like...
chubbier.
Part of it is just health-wise.
Yeah.
Like, I realize, like, if I don't start taking care of myself...
Yeah.
Like, we aren't unhealthy people.
No.
But if we don't really start taking care of ourselves now, it just becomes more expensive with all the healthcare stuff. And I don't want, like... any kind of weird healthcare stuff.
You have high blood pressure and high cholesterol.
I want to be like, you're a father. I want to be like him. He's like 70.
My dad is 70.
And he's like thin as a rail, and he's just like always got energy, and he's like hammering and like putting floors in, and he's like... He's so amazing. I'm like, you're 70 years old?
And you know what? Like, he barely eats a thing. He's like, oh, yeah, I had dinner. It was cottage cheese on a lettuce leaf. I'm like, you're a rabbit.
I went to Dunkies, so...
Yeah, Dunkies.
Anyway, both of us have about 20 pounds we're trying.
Yeah.
To lose, and it's been working,
Yes.
We've each lost, but lose it in a very healthy
in
way.
a slower way,
So I'm eating about 1,600 calories, you're eating about 1,300. We have that app, it's with like My
Fitness Pal, I think.
It's got all kinds of paid stuff, but we skip all that and do
cheap.
the free stuff. And it's basically counting what we eat.
Calories.
It's just like what it's Richard Simmons taught way back in the day,
Well, I had heard of it before where people were like, oh, I'm counting my calories. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But now I'm like, oh, if you limit your intake, then you're going to burn that amount during the day.
Right.
And you're going to lose weight.
Right. And both of us haven't really been hungry because we just learn to eat better stuff when we do get hungry. I mean,
and also it's what I've found to be true is portion control.
Right.
Like, I'll have a plate and I'm like, oh, beans and rice and cheese. I mean, that's not unhealthy food, but I'm probably eating like double what I need to eat. Like salsa and some chips. Like today we went and got sandwiches.
Yeah.
And I we like measured our intake, the sandwiches,
right,
and like, oh, it was coleslaw with it, and we're like, yep, that's definitely 500 calories right there, which is a good stopping point.
But then we added what we normally it would have added on top of that: a big bag of chips,
a bag of chips,
French fries.
It would have been a bag of chips. And I don't know if you're kicking yourself now. Got a milkshake.
Yeah. No. I deserve.
So
500 calorie.
So
milkshake.
I skipped. Yeah, milkshake is like 500 calories. So I skipped the milkshake, but I was like, normally I would have gotten sandwich, coleslaw, chips, and a milkshake.
Right.
That's like.
Right, because
that's like 1,500 calories. That's hungry. My whole day.
Right.
You know, so it's not so much like I'm starving myself. It's about realizing put our calories
it's just
through
really
the day.
All the basic. It's just like it's such like common sense, basic stuff. Just and when I think it's not going to fill me up, I wait 5 minutes and then
you're like, I feel fine.
Catches up to it's my brain or my brain catches my stomach. I'm like, oh, I'm fine.
Yep.
Okay, I don't know if people care about
Richard Simmons. Okay. Let's sweat. Let's do it.
People know what I'm talking about. Deal a meal. Come on.
Is that what he did?
Yeah, it was like all these.
Oh my god,
it was like
so
all these
cute,
cards.
Though.
So
no, right.
You had the cards.
Well, it's like having the app. So you're like, okay, I have 500 calories for this meal.
And plus, we've been working out, which is great. Having an eBay life, we have the opportunity.
We just go to the gym whenever.
We can go in the morning, in the evening.
Yeah,
and I'm becoming kind of a muscle man. It's kind of
you should see Jay right now.
It's kind of like embarrassing Ryan because like ladies are looking at me in Walmart. I'm like, because I'm a muscle
I think
man.
this lady was staring at you at Walmart because you had like one of those camo shirts on with these bright red like running shorts and these like super bright blue like sneakers with like socks pulled up like halfway up your calves. I was like, no. I don't think she's staring at you because she thinks you look cool. I think she's staring at you because she can't figure out what the hell you're doing.
It's my style. It's my a Richard Simmons style.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to business. We sold a $400 bed a week ago. And, if we've talked about this, it's our furniture experiment.
Yeah.
These are things we find in auctions or estate sales. People are just trying to get rid of it because they want the room.
Yeah.
We bought this bed for maybe $20
or 30.
I mean, not that much. A really beautiful handmade maple.
Hand carved from the 1800s.
Yeah. And we put it on Craigslist. On eBay. And we always say local pickup or you figure out how to ship it.
Like uship.com.
Like we can help you with some info, but you have to
work it out.
And it's slow, but it does sell.
Yeah.
And these people were from Tennessee.
Chattanooga.
And it turned out that her husband drove here, so 8 hours.
Yeah.
Came and picked it up, and he was going to turn around and drive home.
I mean, I was like in shock because she knew that we had a time frame, like, oh, we're going away, but if you can do it this week. So she sent me a message, and she's like, I know this is short notice, but can my husband come tomorrow? Right. And we were like, yeah, we're home, no problem. And so I was like, that's kind of crazy. I'm like, he's going to drive up here? And then he gets here, right? And we're talking to him, and we're like, so you drove here from Chattanooga? He's like, yeah. And we're like, and you're turning around and going back tonight? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh my God.
He was super cool.
No, he was so nice.
They were just a young couple, and they're redoing an old farmhouse.
An old log cabin.
And, that's
the style.
That's what eBay's for, is, finding period pieces.
Right.
And, if you think about it, $400 is a pretty good deal,
For an 1800s
And
bed.
I've driven 6-7 hours in North Carolina to get a big load of wood, of floorboards.
Yep.
And I drove back,
Yeah.
I mean, so I get it. And that's their kind of scavengers, too. So I love that.
Just get a big cup of coffee and do it.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to briefly talk about our rental property. And, I've been thinking, why do we do this? This is about eBay.
Right.
I think because we want to share with you guys that, our business doesn't have to, we don't have to limit ourselves to just doing eBay or Amazon. That the whole point of this lifestyle we have is just to do all kinds of things. You know? I mean, it's not just to diversify. Like, we aren't doing it just because we're afraid eBay might, fall out from under us, so we want something else, although that does help.
Sure.
It's more about, it's a new challenge for us. Like, I think we would get bored if we were just selling on eBay for the next 20 years. I mean, we may do that, but we want to do these other things too. Yeah. And also, I think our success with eBay, like, we were these people that worked for other people and we had these jobs, and our success with eBay informs our thinking in our other businesses. Oh,
totally. Like 100%. I mean, customer service, good communication, good photos, good description. I mean, that all applies to our rental house. Right. All of that.
And plus, I think it could apply to almost anything.
Yeah, any business.
But, so like, and also, this is like scavenger life. So, we found this old house, just like any good scavenger. We found this old house. Yeah. And we fix it up like scavengers. Yep. And now we offer it as like a service, and we feel like it's a business that will last. Yeah. To just like when we find these old items out there, and we're really trying to sell people things that we think are special.
Right, cool, exactly.
It makes us feel good. And I just bring this up too because either you or your partner might have a business idea that's not eBay. Right. Like your wife or your husband might support you, but maybe they have this dream to open up, like, he wants to buy like a big barbecue pit that he pulls on the back of his truck that he pulls up to like auctions.
Like a food truck.
Yeah, or whatever. You know? Once we were independent and owned our own time vis-a-vis eBay, then we could do these other things.
Right, it allowed us to think about these other things.
So that's why we talk about this, and we'll do it real briefly. So we had 4 renters. It's this week. It was like every other day. Yeah, we were checking new people in and cleaning.
Because it was a slew of 2-night stays.
And the good thing about that is that it kind of took our mind off the fact that eBay.
It was so slow. We were
making its money there. Yeah, and just busy. Normally, it's for us. We check people in. Yeah, say hi, tell them everything, and then just like check it yourselves out, and then we don't see them again, and there's no problems. This week we had a problem with one of our renters had an internet. They said the internet died.
Right, and so that's happened before. And my theory, I think I talked about this, was because sometimes we get these like power goes out for like 2 seconds, and it'll mess up the modem. I think that happened one time before, so I was like, oh, maybe that happened, but I did just get one of those battery backups, so I was like, So the great thing was, we were on our way to town to go to the gym, so we were like, we'll just come over and try to do a reset.
Right, and so, it was just like what we do on eBay, is that you try and help the person. Yeah. The person just wants you to pay some attention to them. So we went over there and we tried to fix it. It didn't work, and we just said, we'll call the internet company.
Yeah, because it was their problem.
They were so cool. Ryan called, chatted with the internet company. They sent a person the very next day. Yeah. They got there, they fixed it in the morning, and the person left us, the renter, the nicest, the
nicest note. Review. Right. It was amazing. Yeah.
So again, that's a good example of like, we only know to do that because of eBay,
Right, customer service. Yeah. And, being a customer ourselves in other places, at other Airbnbs, on eBay, you get, that feeling of like, what would I want? If I was staying at an Airbnb and the internet was out, what would I want the people to do? Yeah. Try and fix it,
And so we're doing another experiment these next 2 weeks. We're going to be gone, and we have a friend of ours that's going to run our rental while we're gone. He's going to actually go and flip the house.
Now, he has done it before, so we know he's been successful in doing it.
But, we're going to be able to make a significant amount of cash because every single day is booked.
Yeah.
So
while we're gone.
Since we know he's here, and we'll give him a portion of the is profits, I mean, it's good for us because it all makes sense.
Well, my thinking is, like, a lot of times I'm like, oh, I don't want to pay someone to do something. But if we didn't pay him, we would make $0.
Right. Exactly.
Or we wouldn't be able to go to New York because we'd be like, well, we already had these reservations. We can't leave. But it's great. But
it is tough for us. We trust him. He's a good guy. But it is tough for us to, like, hand over kind of our business to somebody else.
Yeah, because we're obsessive about quality. I want everything spotless.
Control freak. And just today we had another trash elf. It's message us and ask if we would give the trash elf discount. He booked
3 nights in October.
Yeah, so we're happy to do that.
And they're weeknights. Yay!
Yeah, our favorite.
Yeah, we love when weeknights get booked.
Okay. We've been starting to kind of talk about how we do a task.
Yes.
Kind of, these aren't really tutorials, but we thought maybe we would just talk about something that might be helpful for people.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about how we clean baseball caps.
Yep, a person had been asking about that, and we've been we show people how we do pretty well to have these baseball caps that sell. And so I think people are starting to buy them. And, it's noticed them. They're, like, always in the corner somewhere. Sometimes they're hung up, but often they're, like, shoved in their box. There's, like,
piles of them.
And they can be dirty because a lot of times people are wearing these.
Yeah.
And so how do you clean them?
Okay, so there are, like, 3 levels of dirty with baseball hats. I would say 4. 1, it's pristine. Looks fine. Okay, that goes in the pile to be listed soon. You don't have to touch it. Then there's the ones that are, like, dusty or linty or whatever, and they don't have any stains or anything like that. So you want to, like, run a lint roller over those, or just dust them off. Or you could throw those in the washer, too, but that's about it. Just throw them in the wash with your clothes or, with the other baseball hats. Then there are the ones that have marks on the sweatband on the inside. And you're like, it looks okay on the outside, but the sweatband on the inside has, like, marks and sweat and oil and stuff like that. It's really gross. So what I do with those is I have, like, a little... Anything you use to pre-treat laundry, honestly, before we did the rental house, pre-treating laundry, I was like, I never even done that in my life because I don't really care. So what I do is I have a little Tupperware container of detergent, and I put a little tiny scoop of OxyClean in there. I never used OxyClean before we got the rental, and everybody I talked to is like, you gotta use OxyClean, and now I'm like totally a convert. So I just mix that up and dissolve it, and then I pre-treat the inside of the hat with a toothbrush, and then I let it sit either overnight or at least an hour. But an hour to overnight is good. Overnight is best. And then you throw it in the wash with the other hats or whatever on delicate. And someone actually recently on the blog said they use shampoo instead of detergent. You could use shampoo and maybe put a little OxyClean in and, like, mix it up. That would help a lot. Now, the 4th stage of dirty with hats is when some dude wore this hat so much that it's not just the inside that's got sweat on it, it's all the way up the front of the actual hat. Like, it's sweaty. Now, you would only buy a hat like that if it was very cool. If you're like, I mean, if you saw a hat like that, cool. I mean, you wouldn't buy a hat that was that dirty if it was just a junky hat.
And people are asking, like, well, what's a cool hat? And I don't, again, we cannot... Exactly.
Everybody has their own opinion of what's cool. It's like you
look at it and you're like, someone in LA is gonna love this hat.
Exactly.
Someone in Finland wants, it's like an old car hat or something like, Ford, or it's like a mechanic's hat,
or something we find
Redman tobacco.
Something we find all the time here are like hats of guys who do taxidermy. Bob's Taxidermy, and then the phone number. We find them all the time. It's no big deal. They don't have those in Brooklyn.
Yeah. I mean, and we don't really get the 4th-stage hats very often. They're very rare. But there are certain kinds of these hats where actually even after you wash them and there's still like grease marks and they're still dirty, they're still valuable because people want them to look distressed.
But you don't want them to actually be like filthy.
Yeah.
So the stage 4 hat, you would do exactly like stage 3. You'd pre-treat it all over the place, let it soak, and then you wash it, and it should be good.
And then we don't actually put it in the way we do it is we just hang them up.
We hang them dry. I don't put them in the dryer.
Because, I think that's where you can start to screw the hat up. The
shape and everything. So I just hang them up overnight, and they're good.
And the great thing, too, is it's mentioned on the blog that, we're buying these things for so cheap.
Oh, yeah.
A big box for $5, 25 cents each, something like that. You can just buy them and experiment.
Right.
I mean, because we do that sometimes, we'll buy these hats, we'll try and clean them, and they start falling apart. Because sometimes they've been stored wrong, and the foam is
it's all
falling apart. The snapback,
will
tears.
Break.
And sometimes we just take
if there's a patch,
the patch off,
we'll
and
take
just
the
sell
patch
the patch
off.
itself.
Yeah.
So that's how we do it.
That's how we do it. Okay, so now we're coming to a new portion of the blog, the podcast of interviewing each other.
And really, this is because we can ask each other things in front of other people. So the person has to give a good answer.
So one of the questions I asked you this week, during the week, because I was actually really stressed out about the internet not working at the other house, and I was afraid it wouldn't get fixed, and
you're in a really bad mood.
I know, I was stressed out.
It's like you were in a deep, dark hole.
Yeah.
I was like, Ryan, are you okay?
I think also part of it was because we were cleaning the house so often, I was just exhausted. Like, I'm exhausted now. I'm just like, so much cleaning. I'm not complaining because we're making good money and I enjoy it, but it was just like relentless, So I was pretty tired. Plus, we were doing eBay during the day. Plus, I was like packing and shipping stuff at night. It was just like, oh. So anyway, I was pretty stressed out at certain points during the week. But Jay is so good about not getting stressed out that it gets annoying. I'm like, you're not stressed out at all.
Why does it make you angry?
Because I'm like, you're not normal. You're like a robot person. And that's because I feel bad because I'm like frazzled and freaked out and trying so hard not to be, but I just am. Yep. So I guess...
Imagine if we had kids.
Yeah. It's a good thing we don't. But,
so, what's your question?
So my question is, what stresses you out? Like, what causes you stress? Because, like, under pressure with, like, things at the rental house, you're just like, no, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think we should not give people a wrong idea that I don't get stressed out or that I'm always this cool, calm, collected person. Because, you know that, like, I snap at you sometimes.
Yeah, but...
I think, for me, though, it's not like I don't get stressed. I think all the normal things stress me out. Like, I was stressed out equally with, like, these people call us, the internet doesn't work. I mean, it's like, I don't know what to fix. Like, all I know is that it's how I deal with the stress.
Right.
So it's not like I'm not getting stressed. It's just like I don't let it take me down a road where it's an out of control train that I'm not in control of.
Yeah.
It's just like I do the next right thing. So the lady called, I'm like, we'll be right there.
Right.
And then we go there and we try and fix it, and then I do it's next right thing. We're going to call the internet company. And that's what we do.
Yeah.
And then, it's like I only get stressed out up until the point where I need to make a choice. And once I make a choice, then I'm like, okay, I've done everything I can. Like, it's like when a YouTube channel thing happened, we were like going to go do something, but we like canceled it to come home to deal with this. And we, dealt with it every way we could.
Right.
We wrote to YouTube. We wrote to our friends that know people there, and I posted to the blog. And then we took a walk, and I was like, okay, we've done everything.
We did everything we possibly could.
If a YouTube chooses to just not let us back on, okay, big deal. Like, what are you going to do?
Have an alternative.
Yeah. So I think that's the way I do it, is just, It's just like when, there's an eBay customer that's all irate. Back in the old days, I would get in there and fight with people just like everybody else. and we just learn, like, you
Yeah.
just offer people choices.
Yeah.
Here are 2 choices. Pick one and we'll do it.
Right.
And if they don't want to pick, then that's on them, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think that's what you're really good at, is like finding solutions and going with them and being okay with that.
Because, sorry.
Right. So for me with the internet problem, I did everything I could. I tried to reset.
Right.
It wasn't a problem on our end in our house. It was actually, there was an outage down the street. But I'm still stressed. I'm like, what if they can't fix it? It's like, but that's not your problem.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, and another thing, too, is, like, we made a decision back in 2004.
Yeah.
Between 2004 and 2006, we made a decision that we didn't want to work for other people.
Right.
And we kind of started building, it's this life that we have now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't live this life so I can be stressed out.
Right.
And, you know,
right.
like feeling like there's something hanging over my head, you know?
I think also, like, I learned a lot from you where, like, for the internet thing, I realized, oh, I need to leave a list of places that have free open Wi-Fi.
Sure.
Or whatever, it's free Wi-Fi and I know the passwords for, like, the cafe
And the coffee shop
and the
stuff.
the coffee shop and the, you know, wherever.
So you're just giving people a choice. So if the internet at our house goes out, they can go into town and still
do their email,
Facebook, you know,
right? Because
send an important document.
Because I've been in situations where we've stayed at places and they didn't have internet, but they didn't give us an alternative. Like, oh, we have our neighbor's internet password, but we forgot to tell you. You're like,
right.
Oh, why didn't you just tell us?
So I hope that answered.
That did. That was a good answer.
Good. Okay, so things that people send us or we find on the internet.
Breaking news.
I saw on a Reddit actually told me this.
Oh yeah.
That Amazon it's interesting and it makes sense. Amazon is inserting itself into the a U.S. post office.
Yeah.
In certain urban areas, Amazon is actually becoming a part of the post office infrastructure. So they're trying to just make the system extremely efficient.
Right.
Amazon pays, they said, about $2 a package to send it off. So
yeah, I'm actually looking at the stats on the article, and it says how Amazon gets to your door. Estimated share of Amazon packages are delivered by, and it says 40% is by USPS. Right. I'm actually surprised. I didn't realize it was so high.
I thought it'd be more, actually.
Oh, really? Well, I hope it becomes more.
So
they should.
So all these articles we're going to talk about and links we will put on the blog at scavengerlife.com if you're interested. And actually in this article there's like a video and it has like some talking heads and they kind of tell an interesting story. I think it's good because that's how the post office is going to
survive.
Exist and survive because they have such a great infrastructure. It'd be so silly to allow it to fall apart.
Yeah, and like as we see with FedEx Smart Post, FedEx is teaming up with USPS to like do the last mile. And I've actually shipped a couple things Smart Post, and I've received things Smart Post, and it's great.
Yeah.
So another thing about Amazon, I got an email, and I'm assuming everybody else who has ever bought anything on Amazon got it, about Amazon Launchpad. And what Launchpad is, and this is interesting because we've talked about this with Kickstarter before. A lot of things that we would fund through Kickstarter were like devices or things that you buy, you know, not just like someone's film.
Like I had this idea for this can opener.
Right.
If it's buy one ahead of time. Yeah. I can then go and build it.
Right. And then you would get one for a cheaper price than what it would be retail. But what's cool is, so Amazon, actually they didn't specify Kickstarter, so I don't know if they're partnering with Kickstarter, but it was like with like Indiegogo and like a couple other like startup things where you could buy the devices that people had like fundraised. Like here it is, and these are new, you know, innovative products. So I thought that was so cool because that's where the people who do the innovations, I don't want to say fail, but that's where they're like, okay, how do we launch this into the public, you know? And so Amazon has like a Launchpad. So I thought that was really interesting.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's this whole thing about makers and those printers that people have.
3D printers.
You know, so it's cool. I hope we see it's more of that where people can have ideas and start to sell them. And
Yep.
Anna sent me this link that, eBay and PayPal have split.
Right.
But eBay is officially announcing that PayPal will be the preferred payment for 5 years.
So it's almost like nothing's changing.
Right. But then I guess after 5 years, maybe they will reassess what might happen. So that gives some stability to everybody, but it opens up that other things could happen. And actually, Steve Schultz put on the blog that he noticed that there's 2 new payment services that you can sign up for.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of them.
Yeah.
If you just wanted,
interesting. Yeah. So a bunch of people also talked about this, and
because we all got the email.
And we all got the email about new promoted listings in eBay. So basically, you don't pay up front, but you would pay a percentage to promote your items.
So I actually did an experiment. I didn't tell you this. So I went through its process. So it lets you choose a category. It doesn't allow you to pick individual items.
Really?
It
Just
does
a category?
Categories. So it's unfortunate because I can't say, well, what are my 10 highest items and let me do that. It's like, so I picked like men's vests.
Okay, which hasn't sold in a while.
Right. And then you say, I don't quite understand. It's like how much you're willing to give eBay if it sells. I don't. So
like
I
a
said
percentage.
Yeah, I said like 5%.
Okay.
So if someone clicks an ad,
right,
and it sells within like a month or something.
So there's a time frame. You're not like, it sold in 3 months. That's not really
It's like an
very
affiliate
fast.
link or something.
Yeah.
Then eBay will take its normal fees plus 5%.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we haven't sold any vests.
So
it's just, but someone was talking about on the blog, like, oh, this is just going to be another one of those things. Like, our worst nightmares are the people on eBay that just sell stuff for nothing.
Right.
Like, those are the worst sellers on eBay because they aren't making any money for themselves and they're just undercutting everyone.
Yeah.
And I get it that they're supposed to be we're supposed to compete against each other. I'm all for that. But just like, this is gonna be one of those things where people like put up their items and they're like,
promote
eBay,
everything.
90% of it, just take it, just sell this stuff.
Just sell it. Well, hopefully, like we always say, if you're selling more unique items, that you're not competing with those people on anything anyway. But I hear you. It's like, just promote everything.
Well, I think the kind of stuff we have isn't going to really attract people in any kind of ad anyway. Our kinds of things sell because people are searching for them. They want, like, a vintage 1920s can opener. That's what I want. And there it is.
But, so my understanding would be, if someone's searching for a 1920s vintage can opener, yours is going to be at the top.
Some ad pops up.
Or they're looking at someone else's that is crappier, or whatever, anything, and it's popping up on the side. That's my thought.
Yeah, I'm just like...
Who knows?
I've said it before. Sometimes I just feel like I'm the worst...
Marketer.
List
it and forget it. List it for a year. Who cares? Don't even think about it.
I need just to be like, I'm just like the old kind of grocery store guy, like the corner store guy. Like, I put on my apron, I show up when I'm supposed to, I make sure things are clean, I treat people right. It's like, I don't know. But then those are all the guys that got crushed when Walmart came. So who knows? Anna also sent another good article. We've talked about this blog.
Frugal Woods.
It's Frugal Woods. It's this couple up in Cambridge. It's Massachusetts. Yep. They're 31 years old. They plan to retire at 33.
Holy crap.
And their blog is just about how they do it, about how, from the very get-go, after college, they've just been saving like crazy and investing, and they have a plan, and they're going to buy a farm up in Vermont, and they're going to have a couple Airbnbs on their property.
Good, smart.
And anyway, she sent an article about them in Forbes.
Cool.
And they kind of like tell their life story. So if you're young or if you aren't, go ahead and read that article. The last thing in news is there is a meetup in Seattle. It's with Dan.
Yay!
So he did one about a month ago, I guess. Yeah,
it was in July.
And it looked like a bunch of people came. And so they're going to do it at the same place on Wednesday, August 19th from 6:30 to 8.
At Denny's in Everett, Washington.
And it's good, too. He gives an agenda. We will post this on the blog. And so he has... It's different people coming who are going to do, like, it's different kind of... It's presentations.
It's very cool.
Like tips for an efficient workflow.
Packing and shipping for profit. Vintage product ideas. Mingle and have fun. Ooh, that's my favorite part. And the order... Moons over my hammy.
Yep, you
better get him.
Ooh, I'm so hungry now.
I know.
So anyway, we will put his phone number up there and his email on the blog.
Yeah,
and you can contact him. All right, things we learned in the comments is this week. We were talking about it's death piles and how to get through stuff, and it's a thing. It's like it's a conversation we have that doesn't ever end because there isn't really an answer that solves it. But people were talking about, the assembly line is really the most efficient way. Where if you treat eBay like a job, and you make an efficient assembly line and just do the same thing every day, and you just get through it, The problem with that is that it might be the most efficient, but it's difficult to do that day in and day out.
Well, you get bored.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but
sure.
But today was a crazy busy day. We're getting ready to go to New York. We're cleaning the house. We, went to the thrift store before. We did a couple other things. And then I came home and actually took photos of shirts.
Yep.
I was like, if I don't do this right now, it's not going to get done for, 2.5 months.
But I think that's the way it works for us is, we do have assembly line methods that we use,
right?
But we don't do the same thing every day.
Right, we change it up.
Always changing up.
We have to.
I change where I take pictures. Sometimes it's here, sometimes it's there. I take pictures of different things.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I take pictures.
Sometimes we change it up where we'll do it in the morning. Sometimes we do it in the evenings. Right. I mean, it's like, and we're always trying to improve our methods too. I think that's why we can't ever give anyone the ultimate tutorial because our methods are always changing,
right?
Improving, and again, a big part of it is just not getting bored or burnt out,
right?
I mean, God, I see so many people that email us or talk on the blog about I used to sell on eBay,
and
I used to do it, and I just got tired, or things came up, and and that's fine. I totally get that, but I think for us right now, this needs to work for us because it affords us a good life. But I don't want to be unhappy.
I don't want to get bored, and I don't want to fight every day when I'm like, I can't work with you. I'm going over to my office.
Wait a second. We weren't talking about that.
Yeah, but that definitely happens. Where you're like, tell me how much everything measures and shout out the titles. I'm like, no. I'm not doing that.
Something I've been doing is it's Netflix. Is that and people were talking about that. They were like, I list while
I watch movies, and we never understood that because I'm like, but my problem is I just want to sit and watch the movie, so I'm not going to get any work done.
So what I do is I have a list of movies that I don't really care about, but I wouldn't mind.
You want to see what it was.
It's watching, so I'll watch it while I'm I'm measuring stuff and writing things.
Well, what's so funny is I'll forget that you do that, and I'll walk in and I'll be like, who are you talking to? Who's here? And you're like, it's a movie, Ryan. I'm like, oh, okay.
It's a movie. Something else that someone talked about in the comments that's been mentioned before, and it's really good to talk about, business policies.
like the actual, like eBay has these business policies.
If you Google, and I can put a link on the blog, like eBay business policies.
Yeah.
I guess what eBay has done, especially for its new people, is that they have these policies so new people don't have to worry about the details of, like, I don't know, they're just trying to make it easy.
I can't, honestly, Jay, I know you're trying to explain it, like, I still don't know what they're for. I still haven't figured it out.
But the reason why people find out about them is that they're trying to do something and they can't, and they'll call eBay, and eBay's like, yeah, because you have eBay policies turned on.
Business policies, yeah.
Business policies. And so our answer is always turn
them
business
off.
Policies off. And then that will let you do everything.
You have to, like, okay, people are like, I'm going away for 10 days, and I'm trying to bulk edit handling time, and eBay won't let me.
Right.
And they're super confused, and it's like, and I didn't know why for the longest time. I'm like, I don't know why it's not showing up for you. Oh, you have business policies turned on.
It will be like your shipping time and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's like, you know what I think it is? I think it's a way to, like, put in your handling time, your returns, and, like, how you ship, like, in a little, like, encapsulated thing. So you're like, I sell iPod cases. Here's the business policy for that.
Right.
I sell, USB cables. Here's the business policy for that.
It doesn't work for us because,
So you can opt out of them through your, like, preferences page.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's how you do it.
How it all works, so you can go there. If
turn them off.
If you're new. All right, our coming week, we talked about it.
A little bit.
NYC. We're going to go to, it's Manhattan.
I am so excited because I am excited for an urban vacation. We
used to live there. We still have some friends there who have stuck around. Some people have done very well for themselves. And two of our friends are going on vacation and invited us to come and cat sit for them. And I was thinking about this. Oh, they ask us because we're the weird people that can drop everything
and just go to New York for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks, right.
Like when we tell people we're going to New York, they're like, oh, cool. Are you going for the weekend? Nope, 14 days. Right. And they're like, what?
And, our friend just emailed us, 3 weeks ago, so... we
looked at the calendar.
We're like, absolutely.
We were like, we have like 3 renters staying, but we'll ask our friend, we'll pay him. He's psyched to do it. And we can just go.
So it's good. I mean, it's going to be, quote unquote, urban vacation for us, but we're also going to bring a bunch of projects that we've been wanting.
Yeah. We're going to work.
Yeah.
But we don't have to do the rental. Yep. That's taken care of. We can work at our own pace. We can work on projects that we have, a list of, like, different things we want to do.
Now, a couple things here. We did it last time. I have a big army bag, a duffel bag.
You are a hobo. We are hobos.
We're bringing about 60 pounds of food with us. Like, it's almost like, it's like a shelter. It's like cans of soup and peanut butter and ramen noodles and rice and beans. And, this is all stuff that I bet it might cost not even $50 at a store close to us.
Oh, but in New York?
In New York, I bet it would cost $400 for this food.
Yeah.
And we've learned this a long time ago. So, we're just going to take all that food up there.
Because the thing is, a couple things. We like to cook for ourselves during the day and at night, too. But if we're like, we're going to go out to eat, but we might go out to eat every other night, or if you're there for 2 weeks, every 2 nights. Because it's expensive, right? Yeah. So the basics like rice, pasta, here, they cost nothing. But in New York, you're like, whoa!
Well, I mean, I think that's a cool thing. I mean, we know this. Like, once we have a place that we can stay at.
A home base.
For a free.
Yeah.
The only thing we're paying for is a train ticket.
Right.
We'll buy a subway pass.
Yeah.
And then it's just like walking around cash. And a lot of it's food. And so if you're feeding it yourself, then... you can then choose when you want to eat, but other than that, you don't have to spend a lot of money.
Well, and the thing, too, right now is we are, like we said, counting calories. So we have to be able to, like, regulate what we eat. So we can't just be like, let's go get 6 slices of pizza. You're like, yummy. I really want to do that, but... let's eat a bunch of stuff at home and maybe we'll get a slice of pizza later, you know?
And the other thing is, I just was thinking about this today while I was going on Craigslist. I was like, so we'll be there for 2 weeks. We have some costs we're going to, have. Yeah. I was like, could we start scavenging on Craigslist on the train up there?
Sell stuff while we're there.
And then go get it, and then here's the experiment that we talked about. And use our phones to take pictures and put it on auction on our new store, like a 5-day auction.
Yep.
And just start it at 99 cents.
Yeah.
And then just ship it from there, so we aren't bringing anything home. And let's see if we can make enough to at least pay for our trip.
For all the movies we're going to go see.
And either Craigslist or, like we we go on trash days, where we walk around the nicer neighborhoods. Yeah. Like garbage finds, like the guy up in
Martin.
Montreal, and see if we can't find stuff.
Yeah, that is.
And there's a couple of scavengers up there that we've been talking to that we might meet as well.
Yeah.
Maybe Flynn.
In person.
There's some guys in New Jersey that possibly.
There's a few guys.
And since we can't do a what's sold a video, we're going to post two interviews. So one every week. One we did with Terminal 99.
Which people are very excited to hear.
Yep. And then the other one was with Tom the English Picker.
Yes, we checked in with Tom.
Who we interviewed a while ago, but he's actually got this it's new thing where he's selling on Amazon now.
In the UK.
And he's doing it scavenger style, where most of the stuff is stuff he buys at car boots or at yard sales.
Car boot sales.
And he does it on FBA, and so, I really like Tom because he's like all about his numbers. He's very precise, and he's not trying to build an empire, but he's doing very well, it sounds like. Yeah. And I got to really ask him all my questions, and he kind of set me straight.
Cool, I'm excited. Okay, so now is the time where we listen to voicemails, read emails, and answer questions. Now you can call us at our voicemail number, which is 540-407-8486. And it's just a voicemail. We don't pick up. And you have 3 minutes to leave a question or a comment.
Hey, Jay and Ryan. This is your new trash elf baby, Heidi. And I've been listening to you for a month now, and I've listed a bunch of stuff, and I'm having fun doing it. However, I came upon somebody who used one of my photos for their photo, and it's kind of a unique photo, just the placement of it. And I don't know why, but my computer is in the background. It's a pair of sunglasses. At any rate, I had somebody send me an email and said, hey, do you know that your cover picture is the same as somebody else, and it makes you both look unauthentic? And so I went and I looked, and sure enough it was there, and it really just ticked me off because, it takes a while to, research and get things up and put photos up and take pictures and correct them. At least for me, I'm still slow. I'm probably not as fast as y'all are. But I don't know what exactly to do. What I did do is I emailed the person directly, and I said, you do realize this isn't the right thing to do. You need to take it down. It's fraud. It's kind of a little bitchy about it. But anyway, I just want to know if you've experienced that and what you have done. I know you have 4,000 things in your store. I only have 30. So it's kind of a little bit of a different scenario. But if you could tell me your thoughts on that, I'd appreciate it. Hope you all are having a good day. Bye.
Jay, go.
Welcome to eBay. This happens from time to time. It probably maybe happens to us more than we know. How are you ever going to find out? Yeah. We know of 2 times where this guy in India had copied one of our listings, and obviously it was a scam because he didn't
have the item.
He didn't have this really weird Americana item, so we basically flagged him, and eBay took it off. Yeah. Then the other one was, a guy in America, and he probably had the exact same item, and we had like 10 pictures, and he took 2 of our pictures, and it used those.
I think it was like a mug or something.
And he sold them, I think he had like 3 of the same thing, and he sold them all like really, really cheap, and I basically just sent him a note like, don't steal my pictures, just take your own pictures.
Yeah, come on, it takes 2 seconds.
I don't know. I think you should definitely flag them,
report them, yeah.
And you can call eBay,
yeah,
and you can send them a note. But I wouldn't get too stressed out about it. I mean, just take care of business,
do it, and move on.
And eBay should do something about it if you call them. What I wouldn't do is get into a big fighting war with that person because they obviously are not very responsible people.
Right. Good answer.
I have an email that someone sent in, which is good. Andy wrote to us and said that he had to call about a defect.
Okay.
And he called. The person said they were going to take it off. They didn't, so he had to call back. And he said the eBay rep was able to say, okay, I'm looking back in our notes to see what that person said and was able to read those notes. And that's interesting that, Andy pointed out that that's never happened.
Right.
It's before. Up until now, I mean, you could just hang up and call again, and that new person has no idea that you just talked. So I don't know if eBay's getting smart and just going to start to have a log, and once someone makes a choice, that's the choice that gets made.
They must listen to Scavenger Life.
Maybe.
Because I say call 5 times and get it fixed if you feel you're justified.
Right. But he said on the plus side, it seems they are more willing to take off its defects than they have been.
I've noticed that. Although I am having an issue where I've asked to get a defect removed like 3 times. Every time they say they'll do it, it's still there.
That's interesting.
So maybe that will help me. They'll be like, we'll see the notes. So I should call this week.
Hey, Ryan. Hey, Jay. Hey, thanks for all the great info. It's really useful. I just got a question about storage. You mentioned about the Ferragamo shoes that the wheels fell off and the way they were stored. I'm just storing stuff in my garage right now. It's not climate controlled, and it gets really hot in the summer. So do you use climate control storage, or do you just store it wherever you can find it? So just tell me about your storage if you can. Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay, so I will say that when I just want to make something clear. When I said that they were stored poorly, I didn't mean I was storing them poorly. I think they were stored poorly by someone else in not a basement or whatever. They might have been older than I thought, something like that. But the proper way to store clothing is if you're storing clothing in a basement or a garage, you need to have a dehumidifier, and it needs to be on all the time.
Yep.
I have mine set to 50% humidity. We live in Virginia. It can get very humid, and if you don't do it, you'll start to see mold, and you'll see shoes dry rotting.
Yep. And also, especially clothes, if you leave clothes and especially wool, I mean, that's when you can get moths and all those things. I guess so we have 2 different kinds of storage. We do clothes and shoes and things that are delicate in temperature, it's controlled rooms.
Yeah.
And then we just have what he talks about is we just have these outdoor kind of sheds that when it gets hot, it gets really hot, and when it gets cold, it gets really cold. It doesn't matter because these are things that we pulled out of.
They're hard goods.
They were probably stored in a barn for years anyway, so it didn't hurt it then. It's not going to hurt it now.
Yeah, and actually, a majority of our stuff, our hard goods, are stored in plastic bags. So hopefully no dust and dirt is getting in there, or we know it's not. So that helps too. But those are items like a wooden box. You don't really need to have that in a temperature controlled area. Now, in worst case scenario, something like that gets, a fine dusting of mold. You just clean it with vinegar and water and it's good to go. So, but for clothes, you need definitely a dehumidifier, if nothing else.
Because really, we have quite a few clothes and shoes.
Yeah.
If there were to be moths or mold,
we'd be very, very sad.
Man, it would be such a nightmare.
It'd be really bad.
Hey guys, my name's Gary. I called last week. I was the one that asked about how long you should leave something up on your store, and then my second question got cut off. What I was going to ask is, this is my second full month selling on eBay and really concentrating on it. And I'm hearing and reading on your blog, other blogs, on the Reddit flipping site, that everybody's just freaking out because it's so slow right now. I thought I did well last month, and I think I'm doing fine so far the first week this month. But for all of us new flippers out there, new resellers, is the summer always the slowest time? I would imagine Christmas time would obviously be the most, busy time, I would guess. But is that truly the case, or is it just kind of on a person-by-person basis or item-by-item basis, or is it just generally always busier in the fall and in the winter because people are cooped up in the house because of the weather and because we have holidays coming up? Just trying to get a sense of how to stock up my inventory and what to be expecting coming the colder months as far as handling how many packages I'm going to have to handle, because I do work a full-time job, 45 hours a week. So I'd appreciate any of your thoughts. Thanks, guys.
The summer is the slowest time.
Okay. So congrats on your second month on eBay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that it's difficult to answer your question because, there's no one answer. If you look at this blog post that this podcast is on, in the comments, you're going to see people who said, I've had a great week.
Right. Exactly.
So sometimes it is person to person, but we always say eBay follows the general retail trend.
Right.
If this is going to be some part of its business, just pick up the business paper or whatever.
Yeah.
And they talk about it. It's slow in the summer times for Walmart.
For everybody.
For Amazon.
That's why Amazon had that Prime Day on July 15th or whatever, because they were like, please, people, buy stuff. It's slow on Amazon.
But, what means slow doesn't mean that no money's being made.
Right.
We're still making a living right now. So it's just, it's about building a 12-month store.
Right.
I've talked about this before. We can't plan our lives that we're going to make money every month like we do it's November.
Right.
Before at Christmas time. We plan a 12-month store where when we make a bunch of cash in the winter time, we can save some of it.
Yeah.
And then also we keep our expenses really low. So we keep our expenses so low that the slowest summer month still covers our expenses.
Right.
That's the key.
Exactly.
Right there.
Right.
And then we always say, just list all the time.
List.
Don't worry about the trends and what's trendy and all that stuff. Just list the good stuff you have, and someone's going to
also,
buy it.
you're going to get busier in the holiday times, but okay, you said you had a full-time 45-hour-a-week work week. You should be so thrilled that you have stuff to ship out and that you're like, I have to stay up till 1 a.m. shipping.
Oh my God, so
that's like a luxury problem.
So he's working 45 hours
That's what
a week
he said.
And doing eBay?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're my idol.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Jay and I have a saying where if pulling merchandise and shipping is getting obnoxious and annoying, that means you are making a lot of money.
I wish it was annoying right now.
Right. And right now, the other day, I was like, I don't even have to request a pickup because I have one hat that's going in my mailbox. I don't even have to ask them to come get it because she's just going to pull it out of the mail. That's
and this really isn't towards the person that called because I don't know him. But when I'm on other forums and they're kind of with, it seems like mainly guys that have jobs and they're trying to find kind of additional income, they're kind of looking for something they can just turn on that just kind of pumps
magic
cash, and they don't really have to do anything. And that's why I think FBA is really kind of in that realm where you can buy 100 gizmos, send them into FBA, and then suddenly you're making $10 a day or something.
Yeah.
That's not really what we do. And the kind of business we run is really hands-on.
Yeah.
But you're going to make a lot more money per item.
Yep.
So, I hope that helps.
Hi there. This is Helen. My eBay ID is Summer Toad. I've been listening to you since you were eBay Scavengers. I had a comment I wanted to share with you just because on episode 208, you guys were talking about unpaid items and how frustrating that can be. And I did the same thing you did for a while. I had my unpaid item assistant come on after 2 days, and I had a couple really upset customers. And since then, what I have done that is working for me, which you, of course, can take or leave, is the Kill with Kindness letter. And what I have done is I've changed my unpaid item assistant time to 4 days. So it will kick in on day 4. But what I do, and then, eBay sends out bills and stuff to them in the meantime saying, by the way, you have to pay for this. I send them on day 2, 48 hours after no payment and no message. I send them the sweet Kill with Kindness letter that's all hugs and puppy love and stuff. And I say, gosh, just wanted to let you know. I have my eBay settings will open up an unpaid item case after 4 days. However, if you need to cancel this sale or you need more time to pay, I can easily override those settings. Just let me know when you want to buy the item, and again, if you need to cancel. Thanks. Have a great day. Boom. Send that off. Day 2. And then I don't do anything else. A lot of times people will pay after they do that. A lot of times I still never hear from people. But what's been really nice is I get feedback on my feedback. They say, super nice seller. And basically I'm doing the same thing as somebody else is writing in and saying, you should pay. But I am giving them the opportunity to have more time to pay because ultimately all I want to do is sell the thing. So what difference does it make if I wait 5 more days for them to pay, if I know they're going to pay? And if they don't want it, I don't want to send it to them. And frankly, when it comes to unpaid items, I have some sympathy, especially for new people to eBay, because on most sites, if you put something sort of in your cart and you don't actually pay for it, it's really not an issue. It just goes away. And I think there are some people who don't understand that on eBay, when you make an offer and the buyer accepts, that it is like it's supposed to be a done deal. So I give people the benefit of doubt, especially those ones that come on those guest accounts that have 0 feedback.
I think that's a great thing to do. Yeah, I mean, that's great. If someone doesn't pay, I think it is always nice to send a message. Yeah. And we do the same thing. We don't really talk about it because it gets boring to talk about. But yeah, we do that too. As soon as they buy something, we send them a nice note and an invoice like, please pay.
But she's saying after 4 days, she also sends a super nice note, like, with their name.
I thought that we sent that appeal. Do we not do that anymore?
Yeah, but our appeal is, like, aggressive. Our appeal is not like, hey, I'm so glad you bought this. I would love to send it out to you as soon as you pay.
Ours is a little bit, I don't want to say it's aggressive. It's a little bit more shameful.
Ours says, you need to respect the process. You gave us an offer, we accepted your offer, and now you have to pay.
Right.
If you can't pay and you need more time, just let us know.
Right. And that by you not paying,
you're holding this item up.
You're holding this item up, and we're a small time a seller, and we're losing out on money. So yeah, I guess that's our method.
It is a little bit more like.
I'd like to hear if other people have better results by being sweet and kind. I'm just like, man, after 4 days, it's like, come on, people.
I also, like, with the last few have been really high dollar items, and I'm just like, that's so obnoxious. Like, I'm not Walmart. I'm like someone trying to make a living on eBay, and this person's like taking, Hang
on real quick. I don't think that we're as aggressive as like it's your voices right now. We aren't quite that aggressive. I think you're just
no. I think I just get mad.
Yeah,
for people
because
not
we do know there are sellers that go to war with people.
Yeah, I don't do that.
We're just firm.
Yeah.
And we're just being like pros.
Yeah.
Like this is what needs to happen in order for this transaction to continue.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. Maybe that might be something to
Yeah, you know what? The next time someone doesn't pay and doesn't message me and doesn't say anything, I will do that.
Yep.
Like, so use their name.
Yep. Super sweet.
Super nice. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Jane, Ryan, Dan Matson here from Seattle. We are going to have another scavenger meetup in North Seattle. So we're going to meet August 19th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at Denny's on Pacific Avenue in Everett, Washington. And we've got a kind of a fun agenda planned. Some of the people who came last time have offered to talk about different subjects. Jeremy's going to be talking about tips for an efficient workflow. Scott's going to be talking about packing and shipping for profit. And Lynette is going to give us some vintage product ideas. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So anybody out there listening, you can email me, woodenboatdan@gmail.com, or give me a call at 425-319-7800. If you're interested in attending, again, it's August 19th in Everett, Washington. Love to see you there. Please RSVP before the 19th if you can, and that's about it. So thanks so much, you guys, for playing this announcement, and I hope you have a great time in New York. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, so that's Dan's announcement. I'm so excited to hear about the next scavenger meetup.
Yep, and we'll also have this info on the blog post, too, in case you didn't have time to write that down.
Right.
Hi, guys. This is Doug and Donna, California Central Coast. And what I wanted to talk about today was the flat rate bubble Tyvek envelopes that can be sent to your house through USPS. This is more of a tip I've come across than anything from my experimenting with the Tyveks. The delivery right now is $4.95, which is pretty cheap, and it's unlimited weight, which is really nice. What I usually do is being it's unlimited weight, I'll find a flat piece of cardboard that's like double thickness, and then I'll cut it to fit inside the envelope itself. And the dimensions that it'll take, I thought it would be handy for somebody, is 2 inches in height, 10.5 inches in length, 7 inches in width. And this makes it almost fills the whole thing up and allows you to tape the front very comfortably where it's within the USPS limits. That way, if you get something really heavy that you want to ship for $5 about, you can just throw it all in there, and I don't care if it's 100 pounds of lead, they have to ship it. And with the double cardboard, it's not going to break through, So anyway, for new guys, that would be a good little tip. And I've been using it lately. And with my wife, we've been using it for shoes that are smaller and for sometimes for heavier metal items like ashtrays, and you could even do glass if you could pack it up really well with bubble and put another piece of cardboard around, make another little box around that, and then use the regular box you'd put into the bubble wrap itself. So could save a lot of money and make you a little money too. Anyway, signing off. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
So the only one confusing thing that I wanted to ask you guys was, you said the flat rate bubble Tyvek envelopes. Now, the flat rate bubble envelopes, which is called the padded flat rate envelope, the ones I get from USPS are not made of Tyvek. They're just made of plastic. And the rate that I get, that I checked before the podcast, was with your discount on eBay, it's $5.35. It is not $4.95. The flat rate envelope that is $4.95 is just the plain flat rate envelope. It's a cardboard flat rate. It's It's not bubble or Tyvek. It's just like a thin cardboard flat rate. I will tell you this, though. I have been using the plain cardboard flat rate to ship clothes, to ship shoes. I will wrap stuff in bubble wrap to protect it and then throw it in the flat rate, and that costs $4.95. I use it all the time. So both the regular flat rate and the padded flat rate envelopes, just like you say, they're super cheap. If you have a heavy item that can go in there that's not going to break, those are good options to use. Flat rate, yay!
Okay, so that's it for today. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you were able to get some work done listening to us. Everything we talked about, all the links, you can go to scavengerlife.com, and you can also join the conversation. That's where we hang out. Everybody does. You can call and leave a question or comment on something that you heard.
And the phone number is 540-407-8486.
We post an episode every Sunday night, Monday morning. Next 2 weeks, we will post an interview with a seller, a special guest, probably on Wednesdays.
Yes.
And then on Fridays, we always do an open post on the blog. So if you've ever had questions that you want to ask, that's the time to really ask them. You can ask anything. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or a YouTube still for now. So you always get the latest post. And we just thank everyone for, we really appreciate when people send us emails, and it's nice to hear.
And I do want to say, especially this week, it was really, really nice. Number one, that people told us our channel was down. And number two, a lot of people wrote in onto the blog like, please bring them back. Yeah. And that was really nice to hear.
And we heard that there were people talking about it on Facebook, which we are not a part of, but we appreciate that as well.
Yep.
And we will, of course, link to this vacation farmhouse that we talk about if you're interested in seeing. We even did a whole blog post about how we redid it with like scavenging materials. And if you would like to rent it, you just do it through there. Okay.
This podcast is ending in 3, 2, 1.
Dying.
Whoa.